Oh, yes. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Just give me a minute. Singapore is now 10 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, welcome back.
But
Uh, Good evening to all of you. Uh, Dr. Sarangi from Utkal University. Hello, am I audible?
yes, sir,
Yes,
you're
sir.
audible.
Ha. So thank you so much for participating in this talk. So just I'm inviting Miss Suguna Srinivasan. Uh, so she is now available. Okay. So Miss Suguna,
Yeah.
are you here? Yeah. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
So for accepting for this talk, okay. So
Right.
let's start. So whatever the topic you have already shared, so all are waiting. So thank you so much, and we are just here to listen the about the indigenous of Singapore and Malay. So okay, hopefully it will be the best talk for you, and we will be very grateful for you. Okay, thank you so much. Let's.
Sure.
Ah.
Sure. Okay. A very good evening to all of you. I'm Suguna Srinivasan, and the topic today that I'm going to discuss with all of you, or to share with all of you, is the Malay connection, understanding Singapore's indigenous culture. Let me just share some of my slide with you while I'm presenting also. Um, Okay, so can all of you see my slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, so once again, thank you for joining me in this presentation. Um, as we embark on a journey to explore the Malay connection, which is an essential thread in the rich tapestry of Singapore's history and identity. So in the next 30 minutes, I invite you to reflect with me on the roots,
Just,
evolution, and enduring
just,
significance.
just a minute, Sugana. I think
Yeah,
your slide is not coming out. Just let's check.
sorry?
Your slide is not visible.
Oh,
No, we
You
can
just
see
say,
it.
We can see
We
it.
can see it.
okay. You are able to see it.
Yes.
Okay.
fine. Can everybody
Okay.
see, or
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
want me to
Uh,
reshare?
okay. No. You just start. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Huh.
So, like I said, I invite you all to reflect with me on the roots, evolution, and enduring significance of Singapore's indigenous Malay culture. Right. The Malays, Singapore's indigenous people, right? The story begins long back before the skyscrapers and bustling ports of Singapore. The Malays are recognized under our constitution as the indigenous people of Singapore. And Malay is the national language of Singapore, actually. So although you will notice we all speak in English and everyone's comfortable in English, that's because of our melting pot. We have different races living in Singapore, so our common business language and the language used in school, the medium of language in school is also English. So it was easy for all of us to communicate. But if you look at our national language, it's actually Malay. And it's a testament to their foundational role in our nation's identity, actually. So today, the Malay Singaporeans make up about 13.5% of our total residential population. They have a very vibrant community areas like Woodlands and Tampines. So you will see higher Malay communities in these estates. Yeah. So, let's take a moment and appreciate the significance of this demographic. The Malay community is an integral part of Singapore's fabric, contributing to our nation's growth and diversity and resilience, actually. So a little history about the Malays. We will travel back to the 13th century. According to the Sejarah, the Malay annals, a prince from Palembang was called Sang Nila Utama. He landed on the shores and founded the city of Singapura, right? So Singa is actually a city and Pura is like means lion, because apparently he saw an animal that looked like a lion. So that's how the name Singapore in Malay, Singapura came about. And this was founded in 1299, actually. The legend was shrouded in the myth, reflects the island's early significance as a trading hub and a crossroad of regional powers, actually. Right. The many phases of our community, of the Malay communities, actually. So Malay community in Singapore is not monolithic. It is a mosaic of diverse subgroups, each bringing unique traditions and histories. You will notice these groups are made of, the subgroups are actually made up of people from Javanese, Bugis, Bawanese, Minangkabus, and many others, actually. Yeah, and a lot of the people were actually Orang Laut, which means sea nomads. They were one of the earliest inhabitants in between Malaysia and Singapore, actually. So as you all may know, that Singapore used to be part of Malaysia, right? Before we got our independence in 1965. So a lot of things were shared actually with Malaysia. And is there a question? So these subgroups actually have contributed to the rich cultural heritage of the Malay community in Singapore. Right, the cultural, language, and religion. If you notice, the Malay culture is characterized by its vibrant traditions, language, and religion. So the language, as I mentioned earlier, was Malay. So that was our national language. Sorry, I think you guys have to mute yourselves. Otherwise, we are hearing all kind of language. Right, thank you very much. So moving on, 90%, or I should say almost 100% of the Malays practice Islam as a religion. And um, we celebrate two of the famous festival, which is called Hari Raya and the Eid Mubarak, I think, and the other one was the um, Hari Raya Haji, we call it. Yeah. So the Malay community preserves their Dika Barat, which is a traditional art. And our cuisines, the Malay cuisines are very interesting because a lot of it was also a combination of the Indian culture. So they have very uh, food made of milk, coconut milk, um, peanut sauce. Um, so there's a lot of influence from the Indian cuisines also. Right. And contribution to the Singapore's development. So throughout Singapore's history, the Malay community has played a vital role in our nation's progress. For early traders and fishermen to modern leaders in the politics, media, and sports, the Malays have contributed to every facet of our society, actually. So you will notice that we have a lot of Malay MPs, Member of Parliaments. So as far as Singapore is concerned, because we comprise mainly of the three different races, the Chinese, Malay, and Indians. And the minorities who are the other races like the Eurasians and the neighboring countries are also coming into Singapore and making it a home for them. But the early settlers were, of course, the Indian, Chinese, and the Malays. So you will notice this group of people will normally represent the member of parliament, actually. And so the Malays have also contributed a lot in our social cohesion and cultural preservations. And the government has ensured to preserve a lot of the cultural artifacts, and we also have museums that preserves Malay artifacts or antiques and all that. And if you come to Singapore, you will notice we have um, uh, a heritage place where we will showcase the Malay culture, similar to all the other races, also for the Chinese and the Indians. Right. The challenges faced by the Malay community. The journey has not been always smooth for them, of course. The Malays, like all the other communities, faced a lot of colonial disruptions, urban resettlement, and pressures of modernization. As you know, Singapore, we are very um advanced in many aspects of our lives and infrastructure. So a lot of modernization has taken over, but um, regardless, like I said earlier, we still preserve how much we can, actually. And so the Malay community has actually adapted to the modernization while preserving the core traditions as their strength, actually. So if you notice in Singapore, when we still continue to wear our traditional attires where as and when necessary, and people still practice a lot of our the festivals and the cultural activities that encompasses their life actually. Right. Moving on, I'm going to talk about the preserving and promoting Malay heritage. So today, the Malay culture is celebrated and safeguarded through various initiatives, one of which is education. So the Malay language and literature are taught in schools. Cultural activities are encouraged through the co-curricular activities. So co-curricular activities, there's a very famous sports that the Malays have. It's called silat. It's actually a martial art. So activities like this are infused in the schools to continue to maintain the cultural heritage. For community organization, groups like the Singapore Dikir Barat Federation and the Singapore Minangkabau Association promotes cultural community and pride. So these organizations continuously have events that showcases the Malay culture. And for the national recognition, Malay culture is woven into our national identity, from the language to our anthems. So our national anthem is actually said in Malay. Yeah. There are a lot of Malay arts and festivals and parades that during the Eid Mubarak celebration, we actually have part of the areas, like I mentioned earlier, the heritage areas, they will be decorated with all these Malay traditional attires, food, decorations, and all that. So it's continued. It's kept alive to appreciate and to educate the young kids, who the future generation also. So the Malay heritage is ensuring its continued relevance and significance in the modern Singapore, actually. And so there's a lot of community organizations that we initiate also. Malay culture is organized and celebrated nationally, reflecting Singapore's multicultural identity. So during the National Day Parade, we normally will include the Malay traditional dance, and like I mentioned earlier, so during the Eid Mubarak, or we call it Hari Raya Puasa here, and so for the whole month they are fasting, and we are very sensitive about this also, because when they are fasting, so we try to accommodate to the things by not making it difficult for them during their fasting months. So there's a lot of cultural events that will take place during that 1 month for them. All these are organized by the Malay organizations. Yeah. And in conclusion, the Malay connection in modern Singapore is a vibrant thread in the rich tapestry of Singapore's multicultural identity. It highlights the importance of diversity, inclusivity, and respect for heritage in shaping the nation's future. So as Singapore continues to evolve, it's essential to acknowledge and appreciate the contributions of this indigenous Malay community. So ensuring their culture remains a vital part of our country's identity. And yeah, so a lot of initiatives and a lot of activities are brought about to preserve the culture so that we don't lose it. And I've actually come to the conclusion of my presentation. So if I would like to have more interactive session, so that's why I'm keeping the sharing a bit short. But I think I want to invite more questions so that I can answer your questions. To enlighten you more about our culture here in Singapore. So is there?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sugana, for your nice
Yeah.
presentation here. So I just request all of you, if any question, so we can ask to Ms. Sugana. So let's have a question answer session.
You're pretty soft. I can't hear you.
Anyone can ask questions.
If you don't want to ask questions, you can put in the chat. I can read and answer also.
Hello, Sugana. Namaste. Hello.
Hi, Shinmay. Namaste.
Namaste. I just wanted to know that is there any gallery of, is there any museum where the artifacts has been stored or anything to preserve the culture, any institutional setup in Singapore to showcase the Malay culture and heritage?
Yes, we do. We do. We do. And if you go to this place called we actually have museums in. So what happens in Singapore, like I said earlier, we have many different races living together. So the government makes sure that every race, or at least the three major races, or four, I should say four, because the Eurasian culture, the Eurasian settlement was also part of our early settlers, right? So we have the Chinese culture, the Malay culture, the Indian culture, and the Eurasian culture. So, it's very interesting when the Chinese and Indians, or the Europeans, when they came to Singapore, some people of these different races embraced the culture of the Malays. So they actually got married to the Malay women, or the Malay, usually the Malay women, and they kind of infused the Chinese culture and the Malay culture together. So you will see there are groups of people who actually practice Chinese fusion, a Chinese Malay, or a Malay Indian, or a Malay Eurasian, and they form their own culture. And we call these people Pranakans, right? So they tend to look like Indians, but they will only speak in Malay, and they will practice a lot of Malay cultural whatever. But religion-wise, they may remain as Buddhist, or for the Hindus for the Indians, they will remain as Hindus. For the Eurasians, they will probably be Christians, although they have embraced part of the Malay culture. Yeah, and it's very interesting. So coming back to your question, having all this, the government has ensured that, special areas are preserved to, educate and use that place to celebrate the festivals. So there are museums that keeps all these artifacts, cultural antiques, and all that. Yes, if you come to Singapore, for the Malays, we have a place where you can find all this cultural items, artifacts, and all that. And if you go to Little India, you will find for the Indians, they have museums and a heritage place that showcases all the uh, Indian cultural items and practices and all that. So in that same way, we have for Chinese, we go to Chinatown. They have a heritage place that will showcase the practices of the race. So yes, we have.
And
Yes, you're
and what
welcome.
is the dialect? Malay script and dialect. Anything you have?
I can't hear you, ma'am. Sorry.
Dialect. I mean the script. Malay script. Do you have?
Malay script. There is no script because theirs is a Romanized words. So everything is Romanized actually.
So it is in English basically.
Yes, it's basically in English. You can easily say a Malay word because it's Romanized. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Hello, this is Piyush Das.
Hello, Mr. Piyush.
Okay. Actually, what is the influence of Taiwan culture over the Singapore? Is there any
Taiwan.
Taiwan? It is nearby, I think.
Taiwan is actually closer to China. Why Taiwan is because before China was open, a lot of I think a lot of trading and businesses were done with the Taiwanese. As they were more open, and it was easier to travel to Taiwan before China was opened up, right? So we have a lot of businesses and because of the Chinese. It's really because of the Chinese.
Okay.
I hope to have answered your question.
Yes, yes.
So if you look at Singapore, we're quite interesting because we a lot of the things that we have in Singapore are similar to Malaysia, right? So the population wise, the different races, we are all multiracial countries. Our food are quite similar. We have the Chinese common dishes, the Malay food, which actually, like I said earlier, a lot of us embraced from the Indian cuisine. They also have biryanis, the Malay biryanis. They also have mee goreng, our noodles. They also embraced from the Indian Muslim, and a lot of the cooking is very Indian also, actually. Yeah. Any other question?
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste.
I just want to ask a question.
Yes.
Are there any pre-Islamic beliefs or practices still exist within Malay culture? And next question is, how do Malays practices their Islamic faith?
Okay, like I said, almost every Malay here in Singapore is a Muslim. So they they practice Islam. Embraced from how the Indonesians and the Malaysians practice their religion. So we have a lot of mosques here in Singapore because, like I said, the 13.5% of Malays are actually Muslims. I hope that answers your question, Ashish.
Yes. And do you have temples, Hindu temples there?
Yeah. Yes, we do. Very interestingly, Singapore, the government has made sure that, that every race has their place of worship. So we have the Chinese temples, the Buddhist temples, we have our Hindu temples. We have many Hindu temples. Some are as old as 300 years old. Yeah. Of course, these were built by the migrants. And we have churches, yes, from all denominations, actually, from the Catholics to the Protestants, the various denominations from the Protestants. Yeah, so we are very culturally, religiously very tolerant citizens of Singapore, actually. Yeah, so we don't decry any religion. We embrace and appreciate all religions here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? It's interesting because you will hear a lot about Singapore, but you are not sure how we live together, right? But interestingly, we have a very respectful and tolerant citizens practicing different religions together. Any other questions?
And what kind of government is functioning there? Government.
Ours is a democratic government.
The
So
same
we
way
have
India voting process.
we have a government that has been in power since we got our independence. So since 1965, we have the same government. So that's where we get our stability and our growth, I guess. Currently, the government in control, of course, for the last 60 years. We turned 60 this year, actually. And the government that's been ruling, they are called the People's Party Action, or in short, PAP. So they have been in power since 1965.
Ma'am, I am Jyoti Prakash.
Yes.
Are there any ancient tribes in Singapore currently who are now in existence?
Sorry, Asian?
No. Any ancient tribes in
Okay.
Singapore who
No,
are
I
currently in
don't think we
existence?
have.
Okay.
No, we don't. We don't. Yeah. So you see, a lot of them, except for the Malays, most of us are migrants, right? So our forefathers, migrated to Singapore, And the Malays, of course, they were the indigenous people. We call them Bumiputras. So they have been, been in the island. And then when we got our independence, of course, those people who were part of Malaysia lived in Malaysia, and those who have moved to Singapore remain as Singaporeans. So we don't really have tribal people here. Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome.
So if anyone has any more questions, kindly fire. Or we will.
Ma'am,
Okay. Okay,
ma'am,
you can.
ma'am, what are the practices? What are the Indian practices that still existed in Malaysia?
Sorry, are there any Indian practices
Yes, ma'am.
in Singapore or
In
Malaysia?
Indian, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, any Indian practices can existed in Malay culture?
Okay, okay. So, no, actually not in Singapore, because the Malays in Singapore have embraced the Islam religion. So they don't follow any of the Indian cultural activities. Yeah. So unlike, Indonesia, where they have, the
Ma'am,
Balinese.
ma'am, how do Malayas express themselves through art, music, and dance? How do?
Yes, very much. So, like I said earlier, there was this martial art which is called Silat. It's very interestingly, became a co-curricular activity in school. So you will find, people playing this sports. It's called Silat, Silat. Then they also have their Malay traditional dances, the Ikibarat, and because some of the Malays here are from Indonesia, from Javanese and all that, so they also bring along their Ikibarat and their Kuda Kupong, the horse dance. So, but it's not very prevalent, but it's like, in school they have this co-curricular activities, so they can have this CCAs as part of their CCA activities actually. Yeah. So if you ask me, are there Indian culture in it? No. It's very Malay cultural dance, or and interestingly, right, talking about batik, your ikat and your batik designs, in my opinion, I think it all came from Odisha. Although today, the Malays in Malaysia and Indonesia claim that batik was originated from there, but if you ask me, I think the influence was from Odisha.
Yes, we have Southeast Asian connection. Maritime
Yes,
history of Odisha. Level.
correct. Your Bali Yatra, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also Malay, there is a connection with Malay, Java and all that.
Yes. Malaysia and in Java, Indonesia. Yes. Any other questions? So there's a place called Kampong Glam, where all these artifacts, the history of the indigenous people, or we call them Bumiputras, it's all preserved in this place called Kampong Glam. Yeah, it's a heritage place. So like I said, because we have the four races living together, so the government has ensured that a special place or special estate is kept for each race. So for the Indians, we will go to Little India. For the Chinese, they go to Chinatown. Yeah, and the Eurasians, they have their Eurasian heritage centers. So we have a lot of, the interesting part about Singapore is because we share so many races, we live together for so many generations now, like it's already probably the fifth generation that is, or sixth generation that's living in Singapore now from the migrants. Today, our children are very comfortable in eating, the Indian food and the Malay food. So if you go to any of the estates, and you will, all our estates have food courts, have eateries and food stalls and everything. So every food court will have food of the Chinese, Malay, Indian, and so today the kids, at least the millennials and the Gen Zs and thereafter, they're very comfortable in eating food from any one of these stalls. Yeah. I think the people who were born in the early 60s, they may have been, not very comfortable in eating the Malay or Chinese or Indian food. They would stick to their own race, their own dishes and cuisines. But today, it's all changed actually. So everyone is comfortable in eating anyone's dish.
And then
So
what
if you're
is
a
Malay?
foodie,
What are Malay dishes?
Malay dishes, we when coming to food, there is a fusion here now. So maybe not so much in culture, but food-wise, the Malays have embraced food like from the Indians, your biryanis, your coconut milk curries, um, um, uh, peanut sauce vegetables. What else? Barbecued meat. So our kebabs and all that. They have. We call them satay. They put meat on the skewers and grill them, which is very similar to your kebabs. So a lot of cuisines have been infused actually. Yeah. And even the traditional attires, because batik was, influenced from India, so their attires, their clothes are from, the silk are from India. So yes, clothings, but they. So with practices, not so much. Yeah. With cultural practices, not so much. But if you talk about cuisine, clothes, yes, they've embraced the Indian culture in that sense. Any other question?
Ma'am, what is the significance of the term kampung in Malay society, and what does it represent?
Yeah. Okay, kampung. Kampung actually it's another word for your village, right? So you know, uh, people who live um, in the village, so we call them kampongs, right? And the best part about kampung is people were very comfortable. You know, everyone's very socially um, uh, open, and people don't have qualms about you know, sending their kids to their neighbor's place, and you know, the neighbor's kids can come over and have meals with them. So it's a very you know, a, a nice embracing culture that they used to practice actually. Of course, now after modernization, everyone lives in a pigeonhole, which I mean by that, we all have our own apartments. And like I said, you know, now today Singapore is filled with skyscrapers. So almost everyone lives in a apartment. And so when you live in an apartment, you tend to, you know, become not so friendly and lock yourself up in your house and all that. But I think that the government has also put in a lot of initiatives for community engagements. So every estate has their, you know, their community centers and resident committees that make sure that, you know, the spirit, the kampong spirit is not lost. So a lot of each estate would come up with, you know, different activities to keep people engaged, and culturally also. Yeah. So like every festival for the different races, uh, some event will be organized so that the residents can come together and understand what we are doing or celebrating. You know, so like I mentioned earlier, so today, if you take the millennials and the Gen Zs, they're very informed of, you know, the different cultures that are practiced in Singapore, the different food, the different attires. Uh, and in school, actually, we also have Racial Harmony Day. So it promotes, um, you know, racial harmony so that, you know, it is instilled in our kids from the day they go to school, 7 years old, and they are already informed of our different races, different culture, and so as they grow up, they know they have this identity that they're Singaporeans. Yeah. Did I answer you on that, Ashish?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
ma'am, you don't have.
Sorry, Chinmay, is it?
So, ma'am, you don't have any village in Singapore right now.
No, we don't. We don't.
Okay.
No, but you know what? Like I said, you know, there's a lot of preservation that has gone in. So some places are called, you know, like Albert Village. It's just a name, but yeah, you know, to kind of remember that that place used to be a village or that place used to be a kampong. Yeah, that's about it. But you won't find any more kampongs in Singapore.
So no cultivation, no nothing. So everything is export,
Sorry?
depends on export and all. You don't have any
Correct.
cultivations, paddy. No.
No, I'm afraid we don't have the space. But you know what? We
Yes.
do grow. We try and grow our own local vegetables and fruits. There are some areas the government has identified for farming, so but not in a big way. It's not sufficient enough. So we still buy from our neighboring countries. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You're welcome.
Ma'am,
you.
can any type of societal classification that still existed in Malay, like Indian societal classification?
Societal. I don't understand this question. I'm sorry.
Ma'am,
He's
like
telling
Indian
caste
social
and all that.
class.
Sorry?
Caste.
Caste
Ma'am,
and
like
class system, I
caste.
think.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
He's basically
Um,
asking caste system. Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't kind of understand this question actually.
Actually, in India, there is a caste system, Brahmin,
Oh,
Kshatriya, Vaishya,
caste.
Shudra. You have a mixed caste.
Okay. No, the Malays do not practice any caste system. Yes, yes.
So, ma'am, if that
Unlike
is okay, okay. Ma'am, if that is so, we have because Malay people practice Islam. Is it correct?
Malay people practice
Islam, right?
Islam, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So there are different sects and sects of Islam. Means I want to say Barelvi and Sunni, Shia, these kind of things, basically. So are the same
Ah,
things practiced here?
um, okay, this is quite a sticky question actually. Um, mm, I think generally we follow the Saudis, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think I would think the Sunni Muslim practices are prevalent here. Yeah. Did
Any
I
more
answer
questions?
that?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Thank
think
you.
that comes from Saudi, isn't it? The Sunni
Yeah.
or Hanafi
Hanafi,
practices.
Barelvi, Dehelvi, and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The most prevalent practices are from Sunni and Hanafi. Yeah.
So if anyone has more
Okay.
questions, yeah.
Thank you so much, Sugana, for your nice talk in this topic. Okay, so
You're
I just I
welcome.
request Jyoti bhai, kindly you vote for tell about the vote of thanks. Okay, so I'm just requesting Jyoti for the vote of thanks. So with this, we'll conclude this session.
Okay.
Hi, I am
You're
Jyoti
most
Prakash.
welcome, Dr. Sarangi.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah.
ah,
Hello, Suguna ma'am. I am Jyoti Prakash from ICCS Bhubaneswar Center, Odisha.
Hi, Jyoti. Hi,
Hi.
Jyoti.
Basically, I look into the IT part of the ICCS Bhubaneswar, and
Okay.
yeah, basically, the video which is basically in Zoom right now, it will be uploaded in YouTube channel of the group, means the ICCS Bhubaneswar group, and will be made available to
Okay.
Sanjay ji so that he can share with you as well, so that he can share your thing as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
Great.
and
Great.
thank you very much for coming today and giving us a good insight into the Malay culture and Singapore. So
You're most
thank
welcome.
thank you, and thank you to all the participants who got actually a very less amount of time. for coming and attending this interactive session as well. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you,
And
and a very good night to all of you.
special thank you, Suguna, for make it more interactive and pleasant. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Chinmay. Thank you all.
Special thank you.
Thank you, Sugana.
thank you.
Uh,
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.